Have yourself a night, Cam Payne. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show, live from the Xfinity Studio, along with Derek. I'm Devon Bree, the president of basketball operations. Kyle is at the arena, handling the business from there, of course, with the Sixers taking on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight and easing the pain a little bit with this victory. Final score for the Philadelphia 76ers in this one, 139-129 in a comeback win where it looked a little dicey. For the Sixers, and we were getting ready to say, we got to talk about a post game that's going to be an ugly one. But Cam Payne, Kelly Oubre, and the rest of the Philadelphia 76ers come up huge in a big win over the Memphis Grizzlies to at least put a smile on people's faces for the night as they pick up their 35th victory of the season behind Cam Payne, Kelly Oubre once again, and the Sixers group. We will get to our Togo unsung hero a little bit later, but we have to start off. We didn't even give a starting point for the show like we normally do, but for the main thing is Cam Payne and Kelly Oubre really did some nice things tonight in this game that we talked about. Not a must win, but a much
pretty darn close,
but a much needed victory. And those two guys really starred in their roles tonight.
You know, you saying ease his pain made me feel like I was in Field of Dreams. Like there was some ghost talking to me and leading me to my next chapter in life. But no, this was, look, you needed some unlikely performances in this one. Because when you give up 129 points to that Grizzlies team and that roster that they threw out there, you are going to have to do a lot of good work on the other end. And look, Cam came out and he was like, that second quarter, he really went on a heater. And, he ended up 8 for 8 from 3-point range. He's the first player in franchise history. This is an old-ass franchise. First player in franchise history to end a game with 8 made threes and without a miss. You're talking about a lot of really good players that have come through this. Nobody has ever done that before. And it's not even like those shots were easy. A lot of those were 28 feet deep, with a hand in his face, pulling up off the dribble. For him to come out there and make those shots and give them that boost, 32 points in 30 minutes off the bench, 10 assists, 8 for 8 from 3-point range. And quite frankly, that undersells his impact a little bit.
Yeah.
He had some really good moments defensively. He had some big steals. He got in the middle of some drives. He made some really good passes. Cam has been, for the most part, bad since signing here. And you needed this when you're sitting here and you need any kind of shot creation, any kind of dribbling, any kind of 3-point shooting. If he was ever going to have a career night, and this is the first time he broke 30 points in his NBA career, 11 seasons in, 488 games in, you need this one right now. Like there has almost, it's all become a running theme. Like, how is it every no-name player has a career night against the Sixers? You needed a Sixers role player, a Sixers reserve, a Sixers pretty deep reserve, quite frankly, to have a career night in this one, and Cam was untouchable.
So for you to say they had a career night, and when you told me that after I think it was his final 3-point make that he had, I was like, really? I thought he had a 30-point game when we were making that run to the finals when he was filling in for Chris Paul that year when Paul went down with that injury for quite some time. And I was like, really? But look, man, they needed something. They needed a spark. And like Kyle always says when we bring up the Cam Payne conversation, Cam Payne famously said, energy costs nothing.
Yeah. So
when you point out that it's not just his point total tonight, it's the other things. He had the assist, the defense, the steal, that, his energy getting sparking, causing a loose ball for them to go the other way and to get a score and a layup and an and one because of his energy that created that defensive opportunity for them to turn it into a fast break offensive chance for them, and they score. And his energy is just infectious. He's yelling at the crowd. He's doing all those things, taking charges on the other end of the floor where he may not pluck everybody or have a really good man up situation on defense every time because he's just simply too small. They can shoot over him, but he's going to provide you energy. And that's what he did. So when he came into the game after missing that first shot, After making that first shot, you could just feel that, hey, he might have at least a good stint, good run here. But never did I expect it tonight to be a good run of 30 minutes off the bench and doing everything he did. And also, 3 steals, no turnovers with those 10 assists as well to go with the 32 points off the bench for a game high. So just phenomenal work by him to do those things, to get the 3 rebounds, had 2 block shots. Also, he was just really feeling good. And look, I'll say this, and I think everybody who listens to the show already knows that I have pointed out the connection to Cam Payne. He won't use it as an excuse, but I know he was tired from everything, from getting back from being overseas, the early on part of the long flight and all, but just having to get back to being integrated again into the Sixers offense, the defense, all the things that they run, and to be able to get his feet set underneath him after these amount of games, and then to get the extended run that would allow him to have a night like this. When we bring up the Jared McCain part, and Jared McCain has said this since he's been in Oklahoma City, it's nice to not be able to be pulled off the floor when you have a tough stretch, knowing that you can still stay on the floor and make some mistakes. And while this may not, who knows, but we're not saying it's going to carry over for the remainder of the 17 games that they have. However, a game like this, when we talk about certain players benefiting off of and building off of a certain performance. He's had a good performance here, a good half here. And this time, though, he had a really good all-around game for 30-plus minutes, and the energy was just infectious where they fed off of it, the crowd and the energy fed off of it, and he certainly doesn't need a lot to feed off of his own energy and then the crowd's energy that goes along with it.
No, and it was, he is a very emotive player, especially when he's a big part of what's going on. And he had a number of celebrations. It's like, oh, he's having a lot of fun out there, which he should have been, because first of all, he's getting a major run for the first time, in his Sixers stint. But he was in his zone, like a la joking, like, man, I wish I had another game to play. I don't agree with that, a la. I would like to go home at some point. But if you're Cam Payne and you're in that kind of a zone, I understand it. And he felt like you could just tell he knew right from the minute, right from the opening, his opening stint. That he was going to have a big night, and he was in his zone.
And he knew it was going to be, look, if he played well, he knew that the runway was there for him.
Yeah.
No Tyrese Maxey, you knew that. VJ Edgecombe, while not on a minute restriction, you want to take some of the pressure off of him. And Nick Nurse was going to go somewhere else for a guard, too. Outside of the Kelly Oubre, Quentin Grimes part of it, you're probably going to have to lean on another guard. Tyrese Martin, Cam Payne, Dalen Terry. You had to lean on someone. And Cam Payne knew that there was an opportunity for him to soak up a lot of minutes and get some good running there. And for him to come out there and just ignite this group, get the crowd into it, even after being down the way that they were down 14 points to the Grizzlies. And as Derek said, he had to lift them back up from the you-know-what to bring them back into this game. So him with Kelly Oubre doing that, and the shot making where, I mean, if I went and looked, I haven't done this, but if I went and looked at every one of those threes, I bet you they were all 30.
They were
four
deep.
of them were 30 plus.
Yeah. And none of them touched rim.
None of them. No. So he was in a rhythm. He was in the zone tonight. The one miss that he had, the first miss that he had, I remember, was a leaner from the left side, which was his only miss from the right side of the floor. And that was it. So phenomenal game for him. Tough day in terms of news for the Sixers. And as we said, after we went through everything with Tyrese Maxey and discussing it all on the pregame show, they still had a game to play, and they needed to win the game. So I don't know how much of the emotional part of it had anything to do with them getting down early. And even though Tyrese Maxey had the smile on his face, as he always does, on the bench while the guys were playing, they had to eventually snap out of it and play a basketball game. And as Derek said, to give 129 points up to that team, both squads on the second night of a back-to-back, that's not easy to do.
No.
But they did it. But they also rebounded for 41 points, where they are still one of the best teams in the NBA in the fourth quarter, despite their third quarter woes where they lost that third quarter by 3, giving up 33 to the Memphis Grizzlies. They came back in the fourth quarter. Cam Payne was a huge part of that. So our player of the game tonight, everybody, I mean, come on. Cam Payne, we got to give it to him. How many of these is he going to win anyway? We don't know. But 32, perfect. 8 for 8 from behind the three-point line. Only 1 miss from the field, 9 for 10. 3 steals, 10 assists, 0 turnovers, 2 block shots. For Cam Payne off the bench, he is our player of the game tonight.
One other quick note. The first 30-plus point, 10-plus assist performance from a Sixers reserve ever.
Ever. How about that? In the record books, Cam Payne against the Memphis Grizzlies. He'll remember that when I had to text the folks down there like, yo, you there tonight? Yep. Cam Payne show tonight, baby. Fire him up. Cam Payne, our player of the game. We also transition now to the other one who had a fantastic night, 31 points on 10 for 24 shooting. He was only 1 for 9 from 3 and still put up 31. But the thing that we talk about where the Sixers have missed Joel Embiid is the free throw discrepancy that is often in favor of the opposition. Not tonight. 46 free throws from the team overall, 38 makes for 82%. Kelly Oubre, 10 for 12 from the foul line, 12 boards to lead the Sixers on the glass, 2 steals and a block shot. So his 1 for 9 messes up his field goal percentage for the 10 for 24. He would have been what? On the night you take away, so he would have been 9 for 13 from the floor had he not missed all those threes. But the energy, again, just all over the floor tonight. And when we discussed the game that he had on Monday night, in foul trouble, couldn't get into a rhythm. Mm-hmm. And if they had him last night, maybe it would have been a more competitive game for a little bit against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bounced back in a big way tonight, once again, where they needed it.
No, and this was a bit of a weird one because a lot of times, especially recently, when Kelly has a big game, it's because he gets hot from the perimeter. And obviously the three-point shot becomes a bigger need, or at least it's a bigger chunk of his offense when he's playing alongside Maxey and alongside Joel. He doesn't have very many games playing alongside those two where he's going to get up 15 looks inside the arc, where he's going to get the free throw line 12 times because he's just not going to be asked to create that much. He's going to finish more plays rather than initiate. Well, in this one, he had to initiate a bunch. And when you have to have that big of a scoring burden on your shoulders and you're that cold from the perimeter, a lot of times that leads to a pretty tough night. But he found ways to be effective, whether that's off the dribble, turnarounds from the mid-range, and obviously then getting the free throw line. And, for him to have that kind of night, and again, only 3 turnovers, which when you have that kind of a usage, that's a pretty low number, especially for Kelly. And to get the free throw line that much, he just found a way. And this was one of those where, it didn't necessarily come easy. It wasn't the easiest 31 points in the world, but it was great effort. And that then showed on the glass as well. And they really needed every bit of both the points and the hustle and the rebounds. This was a game where you were struggling on the glass for much of the night. And if it wasn't for the efforts of someone like Kelly, someone like Barlow at times as well, it could have been even worse. And it could have really, obviously you need a bunch of things that happen to win this game, but you needed those efforts on the glass to help keep you competitive.
Yes, absolutely, man. I was just looking at what he was able to do. First of all, when you look at both of their box scores tonight, when you look at those two for the 139 that the Sixers put together, they combined for 63 points between the two of them in the way that they did things tonight. We'll get to that shortly.
I'm just really annoyed.
We'll get there.
I love that we get to talk about this team. Don't get me wrong.
I was going to get Bree to do
I would
something.
love to be watching Miami, Washington.
I know. So 63 points combined from those two guys, and Kelly Oubre also brought it with the 2 steals, a block shot as well. So just a tremendous night for both of those when they needed it. They desperately needed this win to get to 35 and 30 on the season. We don't know, of course, what's going to happen against Detroit, who whooped up on the Brooklyn Nets tonight.
This is shameless, though. They're up 27 points with a minute and a half left. He's still in there gunning.
You got to do it. I'm texting back and forth with my people. Is he still in there?
He's still in.
Detroit on Thursday, don't give them much of a chance in that one. This one, they just needed it. After today, after what happened, For that to happen between those two, get 3 other players in double figures as well. VJ Edgecombe has a nice return comeback game for him for what he was able to do. Even though Quentin Grimes had a somewhat quiet night, he still got to the line 12 times for 22 points. They needed the win. They got the win. Nice story tonight from Cam Payne and Kelly Oubre to put up the type of night that they did, especially for Cam Payne, our player of the game, for his game-high 32 points. We will also, tonight, we will give you our honorable mention player of the night here tonight as well. Derek kind of talked about it, but we're gonna see if Bree can put together a quick graphic for the player of the night in the association for the night that he has had. 81. Think about that. So I understand why he's still in the game for that one. That was the last time that happened. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here, our first pause of the show. When we come back, we'll give our unsung hero because he deserves some conversation as well, along with a few others. We'll break everything down, discuss our player of the night. Sixers win 139-129 over the Memphis Grizzlies, pick up their 35th win of the season. They need to string together a few to hold off a few of those other teams in that play-in and maybe shock some other teams in getting some wins that we don't expect for the Philadelphia 76ers. We come back, we break it all down for you. Unsung Hero presented by Togo when we get back on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
Spring is back, baby. You know what that means. Rita's is back. I'm looking forward to that first day of spring, the long line around the corner, everybody lining up to get that water ice. It's the best. I'm getting a mango gelati the first time that I can. Nothing hits like that first refreshing Italian ice of the season. Maybe you're a frozen custard person. Smooth, creamy, perfect every time. And if you really want to do it right, like I said, mango gelati. I like a blendini from time to time too. After a nice workout, cool down, sip on that. Delicious. The sun's out. The flavors are popping. It's officially treat yourself weather. And don't forget to download the Rita's app because new app users get a free small gelati, ice, or custard with their first purchase. That's free happiness waiting for you. So come into Rita's and make this season the sweetest one yet with ice, custard, and happiness. Treat yourself to a scoop of happiness today. Be cool, go to Rita's. Learn more at ritazice.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you.
All right, you ever have one of those days like we do typically here at night where you're hungry when you leave and you're like, what am I going to get? Well, I know what I'm going to get. And I always see it on the way home, especially the one near my home, and that is the great Wawa. Yes, stop at Wawa for the great lunch deal, which consists of the roasted chicken sandwich or the crispy chicken sandwich, and you got to try the new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. Or in the morning, when you get up early and you're rushing to take the kids to school, you forget your own meal. That's where the breakfast sizzly deal comes in. The $5 breakfast meal deal where you get a sizzly, hash brown, or any size hot or iced coffee, all from 5 to 11 a.m. The sizzly for me, sausage and cheese on a croissant. Please try it and tell them that I sent you. They don't know who I am. But hash brown and that hot or iced coffee, you'll be set for the remainder of the day. So either grab that for breakfast or your crispy chicken sandwich for lunch. Don't forget the teriyaki sandwich. Limited time exclusions apply. See Wawa for details. Gotta have a Wawa. All right, we're back here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. 139-129. We're monitoring some other things as things are happening. It's happening in motion. Let's get to the Togo Unsung Hero presented by Togo. Togo are good people. The leader in operations outsourcing at Togo. We went with a different unsung hero, but this is the whole nature of the unsung hero. Dalen Terry, only 2 for 3 off the bench. 5 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. But he had an impactful night, Dalen Terry did, for, again, they're going to need another guard. Who's Nick Nurse going to turn to? We've seen Tyrese Martin hasn't worked out the way that they would have liked it to work out for Tyrese Martin every stint that he has had. But this is the best Dalen Terry game as a former first-round pick that they wanted to take a chance on with the second-round guy. And while, again, the numbers don't jump out at you, it's just simply about what he did tonight and what this could mean going forward. Again, buoying somebody's confidence while out there on the floor. So Dalen Terry out there, not a lot, but the effort, the energy, an extra ball handler where he's out there and it's like, oh, he can shot create a little bit. He looks like he's back at Arizona. Dalen Terry a little bit here. And while, again, didn't result in shot making, But some good minutes out there tonight for Dalen Terry and his longest run in the Sixers uniform. So can this be something that he can build off of, or at least Nick Nurse has confidence to go to? Tyrese Martin one night, Justin Edwards the next night, and then Dalen Terry on another night. Then this is what you want to see from a guy like Dalen Terry on a two-way contract for the Philadelphia 76ers. So unsung hero, a lot of other candidates, and we'll certainly talk about them. Bigger names, Dalen Terry, we decided to give that to him tonight.
Yeah, no, and look, he has had a couple games now in a row. And I think probably like the unsung hero is probably worthwhile, not just because of what he did tonight, but what he did the other night too. Like he has given them a little bit of ball handling. He has given them, a little bit of playmaking and passing. Like I trust his decision-making a little bit. And on a team that's decimated and has lost pretty much all of their guard depth and all of their ball handling depth, you really need him to step up. He obviously made that 1-3 as well. That helps. That will, if he is ever going to become an actual part of an NBA rotation, not just a hospital rotation, but a real rotation, he's going to need to start making that shot at a higher level. But if he does that, he does provide some role player skills that can help build a useful player. Like I think the defense is legitimate. He'll get out in transition and run. He'll get out in transition, not only fill a lane, but also, lead the break at times with his handling. I really do think he is one catch and shoot jumper away from being able to be on a real contract and being on a real team. Not a high usage player or a high minute player on a team per se, but I think he can be an NBA rotation player. He just desperately needs that shot. So this is a game, I think, where he showed you what he can do. He showed you the ways he can impact a game off the bench in a reserve role. And he showed you the blueprint if he ever gets that jumper down to where it's consistent and reliable.
Love to see it, man. Really do. That's why we decided to give that to him. And just simply looking at the work that Dalen Terry does, maybe this will open some doors for him and feeling comfortable out there on the floor. I wouldn't even read too much into if they are blown out against Detroit on Thursday. As long as he gives a good run in his minutes,
sure,
that's all you have to worry about. Because then we're looking at, could he play much better on Saturday afternoon against the Brooklyn Nets? What does that then do in a night two when you have the Portland Trailblazers? Better than the Brooklyn Nets, but when you have the Portland Trailblazers, and also when Justin Edwards has a much better game on Monday night, you want to give somebody else an opportunity on the second night of a back-to-back, and you get this one from him. Maybe it's the Tyrese Martin. Like I said, another night, each one of these guys has a particular, Marshawn Beauchamp as well. Mm-hmm. Each one of them has their own moment where they just need to soak up some minutes with Tyrese Maxey out and giving some of the longer run to Edgecombe, Cam Payne, Quentin Grimes, and some of the others. And then you can also look at him where he was out there on the floor as a third guard when it was VJ Edgecombe and Cam Payne making that comeback. If Cam Payne's not going to have these types of night all the time, then you're looking at Quentin Grimes, VJ Edgecombe. Maybe Terry can be out there for a few of those minutes where you have at the four, you feel comfortable putting Kelly Oubre against a specific lineup where he's at the four, Bone at the five, or Barlow, Jabari Walker, whomever you have at the small ball five. That's what you have there. So Togo, unsung hero of the night, goes to Dalen Terry. Togo, unsung hero, presented by Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute at Togo. The other guys, VJ and Quentin Grimes, 43 points, 8 boards, 7 assists combined between the two, 21 for VJ with 5 and 5 in his comeback game. This is what you wanted from him in a comeback night. You definitely wanted something like this from VJ Edgecombe. Looked comfortable with the ball in his hands, but he had other guys that helped him out tonight with the rock in their hands too.
Yeah, and this was one where you probably felt like his jumper was going to be off. Like a lot of times when you take a week off in the middle of the season, you come back and there's just timing that you're missing. And a lot of times that shows up with perimeter jumpers. And I thought obviously the 1 for 5 from 3-point range, I think he started off 0 for 3. Missed a couple of middies that he was making before, going out of the lineup for a little bit. But he found a way to be effective, found a way to get to his spots. I thought the passing was there at times. And that's one part of his game where, especially as his handle gets a little more refined, I think he can end up being a plus passer down the line. It might take a little bit of time, but he shows flashes of that. And he was able to attack. And he had some, moments in terms of just, getting out on the break, and getting up for some pretty impressive dunks where you go, oh, okay, it seems like that back is fine. And if that back's not fine, then maybe I need a lumbar contusion because I've never been able to jump that high even when fully healthy. He looked like he was physically in a good spot. Give him a little bit of time with rhythm, with getting the timing back on his jumper. He could end up, I think, helping you kind of navigate this tricky part of the season, we'll call it here, over the next couple of weeks without PG and Tyrese.
Yep. No, seeing that from VJ Edgecombe and Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes taking a bit of a backseat to the others, especially Cam Payne, finishing with the 20 plus tonight and the rebounds, 3, 2 assists. And that's where I brought up, and look, it's great that he got to the line because that's what you're going to need with Maxey and Embiid out of the game, and you're going to need to try to get some freebies, and he and Kelly Oubre both getting there 20 for 24 from the line combined from the two of those guys on the night. But I was looking at it, and I was like, man, I said to Derek and Bree, I'm like, yo, this is normally when Quentin Grimes is like 5, 6 rebounds, 5, 6 assists. Hey, look, Kelly Oubre picked up the slack, 12 boards. You got 10 assists from Cam Payne. So the opportunities were there for others. So I'm not complaining at all. I'm just not, because oftentimes we say, where are those people giving that extra effort? Memphis still had 20 offensive rebounds to the 12 of the Philadelphia 76ers.
No, and if Cam Payne doesn't go absolutely nuclear from three-point range, we might be having a very different conversation.
Yeah, and if Kelly Oubre doesn't also get 12 boards, we're saying where are the others?
Again, 20 offensive rebounds on only 50 missed shots is really, really bad.
That is really bad. So with that, I was saying that, man, Quentin Grimes is normally engaged and he's in there. He's not in foul trouble either. VJ Edgecombe was the one in foul trouble, and he still ends up with the 5 and 5. And I was just really curious as I was watching the game, like, that's where he normally busted. He gives that effort to get that extra effort to get to that loose ball there, or he'll run somebody over to get that rebound, being ultra aggressive. But you also got the points from him. So I'm not here to complain about that at all, because Quentin Grimes still gave you a nice overall game as he shot 6 for 16 from the floor, but got to the free throw line 12 times. So it was nice to see. And on the Edgecombe side, this is just what you're going to need. He's going to give you 20 plus some nights. He's going to give you 12 on other nights. And you just hope that you get the support from the other players, specifically Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes. And when Paul George and Joel Embiid are back in the lineup with him, that so much is not on his plate to do what you're asking of him in this lead role as a guard. So nice to see that. Only 2 turnovers in the 34 minutes that he had out there. So he protected the ball, had some help from the others, that the ball didn't have to be in his hands as much. And you could also see, even though he had 5 boards when they were making their comeback, there was some missed shots underneath the glass. He was picking up he picked up 4 offensive rebounds, VJ Edgecombe did, of his 5 boards, to help them get those second chance opportunities for them. So he did a little of everything. This is what we know about him. Did a little of everything and did just enough to help them win this game, even though, as we talk about plus minuses and all that, Cam Payne plus 22 while he was on the floor. That's insane. Everybody else was pretty much a negative. He and Dalen Terry are the only pluses while they're out there on the floor. But
Quentin
Edgecombe, pretty good.
Quentin too. Quentin was a plus.
What was he a plus? Oh,
plus 11.
Plus 11. All right, yeah.
No, if you would have told me coming into the game that with Paul George and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey out, that VJ and Quentin would combine to shoot 1 for 9 from 3-point range, I would have told you all to turn off the game, don't even bother watching. They're getting their doors blown off, even by the tanking Memphis Grizzlies. Luckily, I didn't tell you to do that, because that ended up being one of the most entertaining, 14 or so minutes of basketball, and unexpectedly entertaining 14 minutes of basketball we've had in quite some time.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to VJ and Quentin for finding ways to impact the game even when their shots weren't falling. And it's a credit of all the other players that we've talked about so far, and a couple more that we'll talk about in the next block, for stepping up and playing outside of their typical roles and elevating you on a night when you desperately needed elevation. If we would be sitting here talking about a loss to this Memphis team after the news we just got, it would have been very, very dark. And look, we'll have time for dark shows. We've got 3 weeks without Tyrese Maxey. We've got another 2 weeks without Paul George. We don't know how much longer we have without Joel Embiid. So there's going to be some dark podcasts in the future. Probably not the greatest sales pitch I've ever made on this show. It's just the reality of the situation we're living in. Come here with us, though. But we get to be happy and have an enjoyable night of basketball here, and I will take that at this stage.
All right, we're going to take
distract me from the reality of where we're
second
at.
pause of the show as we talk about the Sixers winning 139-129 when we get back. I'd imagine that the block on the other side is going to focus more on the player of the night, not just the player of the game. Everybody's talking about it. We're a basketball show. Derek has been bottling it up because I'm like, stay on topic real fast so we can get through the Togo unsung hero, even though he could have had that too. We'll talk about Bam Adebayo on the other side. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
Can you be unsung when you score 83 points?
Career nights all around. Have at it, Bam. We'll get to it when we get back on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Do you really want Tyrese Maxey diving for too many loose balls? Absolutely not. That's how he injured his finger. Yeah, that's how he got hurt. So it's not worth the risk, time, or money. And that goes the same for your businesses. And that's where Togo comes into play for small and mid-sized businesses. Competing with bigger companies isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. And with competition heating up, you can't afford to fall behind. AI goes way beyond ChatGPT. And it gets a little overwhelming, and it does so pretty fast. That's why having a trusted guide like Togo matters. Togo streamlines your operations by handling customer service, accounting, order management, logistics, and so much more, and without the cost of building it all in-house. Every engagement starts with free process mapping, and Togo doesn't bill a dime until the real work begins. Programs start as low as $1,000 a month and are built to scale without breaking the bank. So visit Harness Togo, that's TOGO.com, and mention PHLY for a free operational assessment. All right, folks, the weather's warming up. You might see some pests, some rodents. You don't want to see that. So you got to check out our good people from Evans Pest Control to stop it even before they start. I trust these guys with my home. They've got amazing reviews and won Best of Philly in the Philly Favorites Gold Award. So they're a family-owned business, not a national giant chain. They're community-focused pest control company right here in Philly, and they've been earning the trust of neighborhoods for years throughout the area. Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatment options, and their techs, they go through continuous training so they're equipped to handle anything from rodents, insects, termites, even bed bugs, which you do not want. So if you see signs of pests or just want to prevent them before they get started, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com. Back here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Good night for the Sixers with the win on a tough night with some bad news for Tyrese Maxey. Career night for Cam Payne. Perfect 8 for 8 from behind the three-point line. 9 for 10 overall from the floor. He was tremendous. A career night for him. But we have to get to the player of the night, probably of the week. And he might win player of the month just because of this performance. Bam Adebayo, hats off to him. Career high, super career high, 83 points on 36 for 43 shooting from the floor, 7 for 22 from the floor. From the three-point line, 31 points in the first quarter, 36 for 43 from the free throw line is insane. I'm sitting there saying to Derek and Bree, how do you miss 7 free throws when you get to the line that many times? You could have broken the record a long time ago, and he would have had 90. But I'm just picking at that point. 9 boards, 2 blocks. We're sitting here watching it as best as we possibly could while we're doing the show. I said to Derek, because Derek likes to rewatch certain things on his laptop with the game, so he's rewinding stuff. And I said, did you know Bam had 31 in the first quarter? He's like, what? 31? They're playing Washington.
I thought you misspoke. I thought you meant first half.
Yo,
there's no way.
First quarter on fire. So here is the top 3 all-time single game scores. Top 3. Wilt, 100. Bam, 83. Kobe, the 81. Which one of those? I'm not even going to say it because it's his night. Fantastic night from Bam Adebayo. They blow out the Washington Wizards 150-129. The game was out of hand in the first quarter. They were at 40-29, and it nothing. It was they said a 14-point lead at the half.
Yeah, but it was like that. So it was a
15-point lead after.
It was a 14-point lead late in the first quarter. It reached almost 20, I think 18 in the first half, and it was at like 25 midway through the third. It was not a close game. Look, great night.
Great night.
There was some felonious stat padding going on.
No, it was not. This is the NBA.
Him playing 42 minutes in a game that was essentially decided with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter is incredible. He ended up with 43 field goal attempts. Nobody else on the Heat hit double figures. It was get the ball to Bam and get out of the way. I'm real interested to go back and I didn't watch a second of this game, so I'm purely reacting on the box score. I'm interested to go back and seeing how he got his 83.
That's tomorrow's rewatch.
Doesn't happen all that often. There's got to be it's truly incredible. And him to get to the free throw line 43 times is a stat that's how Wilt, if Wilt could make free throws, if Wilt ever went 36 of 43 from the free throw line, he probably would have had 130. But incredible performance from Bam, obviously.
Does anybody want to watch a watch along with me and Derek? A rewatch
watching
of
a game that's already happened.
83, just to kind of break it down, because we haven't seen it. It's live for us, and many of you didn't see it because you were watching your Sixers. But fantastic night for Bam Adebayo. I mean, look, again, I joke, and I said it before I handed it off to Derek about, man, which name doesn't belong? I mean, look, Bam 83 along with Kobe and Wilt, 2 all-timers. Devin Booker has 70. I think Luka had, what did Luka have? David Robinson had 70 in the game as well. Luka had 60 plus. I don't think he ever got 70. Devin Booker, I remember because it was against the Celtics and when the Suns weren't so good. But that's a tremendous night, man. That's one to remember. Bree brought it up that nobody else, well, Derek said nobody else had over 10 field goal attempts. Bree said, how does nobody have double-digit assists on Bam's team, getting him the rock? and Jaime Jaquez had 8 on the night in terms of assists. And I still can't get over the fact that he missed. Forget about the fact that he missed the free throws, the 15 three-pointers that he missed. He missed 7 free throws, man. So he could have at least stat padded a little bit more, where he might have been out the game a little bit earlier had he gotten there a little bit sooner. But that's a tremendous night. So I'll say this, that as a basketball fan, I love stuff like that. And I know Derek does, and Bree, and I'm sure Kyle too, and all of you guys in there. Dame has 75, Davon said. You're absolutely right. Mitchell has 79, 70, right? Yes, Mitchell has 70. I saw 79. I didn't see the 70. But as a basketball fan, man, you just love that. That's why we do this stuff, for things like that to take place. Cam Payne having a 8-for-8 night, the first time in Sixers history, not off the bench, was off the bench, that somebody does something like that where you have a double-double off the bench with 30 and 10 assists on the night. This is why we love basketball, everybody, for things like this, and to watch it from afar with Bam Adebayo going off for that. Tony Delk, I remember, had 50, and people were like, what the hell is that? Somebody else recently had 50, and they were, who was that guy that had 50 recently for Detroit? And he's a scorer. It was a guard. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just remember he had 50. And this is why we love sports. This is why we love basketball, when things like this happen.
Didn't Malachi Flynn?
That's who it was.
He had a 50-point game.
He wasn't with Toronto. He was with Detroit at that time. That's who it was.
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I like a random 50 burger, like the Tony Delk one that you brought up. Wasn't there a Sixers player who had one?
Dana Barros had it.
Yeah,
Willie Burton also had it. Willie Burton had 50.
I like random stuff like that. I like a random Cam Payne game. Second in NBA history, though, I feel like that is sitting
again.
Bam,
he doesn't belong there, but.
See, but that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. If this would have been a 65-point game from Bam, I'd be great. But passing Kobe, even passing Embiid, even passing Booker, it just doesn't feel right, Do
you have the list? I'm going to look at the list.
No, I don't have the list in front of me.
I'll look up the list.
But it being against the Washington Wizards in the middle of March, a team that's tanking, when Miami had a bunch of their offensive players out, it's a fun moment. The problem is it exists well beyond the moment. It'll be in the history books. It might be in the history books for 20 or 30 years because it's tough to put up that many points. It feels a little fraudulent to me. But again, I haven't watched it, so I'm purely commenting on the box score.
Shame on Basketball Reference. They're normally on top of this stuff. He's not up there yet. Come on, get it together. Wilt 100. Kobe now third. Wilt had 78. Luka had 73. So did David Thompson. Wilt Chamberlain had it two other times where he had 73. Wilt had 72. Dame had 71. Donovan Mitchell had 71. David Robinson, 71. Elgin Baylor, 71. Joel, how do we forget? 70. Booker, 70. Chamberlain, 70. Jordan, 69. Pistol Pete, 68. Wilt a bunch of times there. Again, Kobe, 65. Of the current players, also more recent, Giannis has 64 of the active players. Booker has 62. Towns, remember 62 Towns had when he was trying to match Joel's 70 and Minnesota ultimately lost the game? Remember that when he was trying to get his numbers? Steph Curry had 62. Carmelo as a Knick, if you remember in the Knicks game, he had 62. Kobe 62. McGrady 62. Nikola Jokic 61. And then you have Brunson 61. Dame twice 61. Harden 61 twice. LeBron. And so on.
Schoolboy with a good call out. The Corey Brewer 50-point game. Another one of those completely unexpected ones.
That is out of nowhere. Kemba has 60. Yeah, so some good names in here. And then you have those random names to your point. But congratulations to Bam Adebayo. Yep. I mean, he did it. So he got 83, man, against the Washington Wizards. I don't care that it was against the Washington Wizards. I do not care. Shame on them for fouling other teammates on the floor for him not to get the ball so they can just flat out get a technical foul and give a free point to someone else because they don't want Bam to break the record. Shame on them. Congratulations to Bam Adebayo for his career night. When we get back, we'll continue to talk about the Sixers, get to your super chats, wrap this thing up. Sixers win, 139-129. Bam Adebayo, a career. He will never get close to that again. No. Career night.
His career high before this was 43. 43.
He topped that by 40. That's going to the Hall of Fame. Those shoes, by the way. That jersey's going to the Hall of Fame. Take that basketball home. Did he wear Asia Wilson sneakers tonight, or did he wear his Jordan brand kicks tonight?
Do the Sixers have any games against the Wizards left? Joe's got to get 80.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Joe's got to get 80. If he's on the court, you got to get him 80.
Got to get him 80. You're okay with him staying on the floor to get 80 in a blowout?
I mean, that's the only thing we're winning this year, so yeah, go for it.
We'll come back right here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show.
Guys, managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. If you're like me, you probably have a lot of travel coming up now that it's finally starting to get nice out. In order to do that, I have to start putting some money away, and Monarch is the tool to help me do that. And we want to make sure that you set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that's designed to make your life easier. My favorite thing about Monarch is how well it shows you exactly where your money is going, so you can make educated decisions on how to manage your finances better. Monarch isn't your average personal finance app. It's built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Monarch gives you automated tracking and clear projections so you can see that you're on your way to hitting that financial milestone. 8 out of 10 members feel more in control of their finances with Monarch. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY.
It's time to make your home work smarter, not harder. And with a TrueMark Financial home equity line of credit, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever's next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow what you need when you need it on your timeline. You start with revolving line of credit. You only use what you need, and when you are ready, you can lock in on all parts of your balance at a fixed rate for a predictable payment. With competitive rates compared to most unsecured loans and flexible repayment options, this could be the smart move for your home and your wallet. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branch locations to get started. I know there's one near me. I'm sure there's one near you or as you pass by. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. NMLS 404938. All right, we're back here on the post-game show. Sixers win by 10, 35-30 now on the campaign. 17 games to go on the season. Detroit Pistons in Detroit. That's on Thursday night. We'll be here for pregame, 6:30, right here on the PHLY Sixers pre- and post-games on the network. Got to say this, too. I saw Philly Star in the chat said, let me go back and find Philly Star's tweet, a message here real fast. Says that, home safe, Philly Star. Thanks for the safe travels, prayers, chat. Appreciate y'all. By the way, I had 65 points in a CYO game. That's dope. Because they were doing some stuff to try to stop him from scoring once he was in a good rhythm. So 65 in a CYO game. So I wanted to ask everybody this. We'll get to the super chats here in a second. In a officiated regulation game that you had played in on any level, what's your career high of all you ball players in the chat? Let us know. We still got about a normal 14. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer depending on our conversation here. But what's your personal career high in any regulation officiated game? CYO, high school, college, church league, PAL league, summer league, whatever. Give us your single high. Jay says he had 30 in a game.
And if you're listening to this after the fact, not live, drop it in the comments and we'll come back and check it out.
Absolutely. Mine was 28.
Okay.
I had 28 in a league I wasn't supposed to be playing in high school.
Or you're a ringer? Like, what's going on here? What do you mean?
When you're in high school, you're not allowed. When you were in public league, you were not allowed to play in any other church league or just, any leagues like that.
Yeah.
I was playing illegally in the league I wasn't supposed to be playing in to get some extra work in during the season. And I had 28 was my career high.
Yeah.
28.
I definitely had mid-20s. The problem is with a lot of the high school games is it's such a slow game.
Because
with no shot clock. And
absolutely.
When you're talking about 50-point games, if you hit 20, you're doing a lot of work.
Yeah. Getting some good ones in here already. And we appreciate it. E-Ross said he got 20 on 30 shots. You still got 20, and 30 shots to get up is not easy.
We don't count field goal percentage in high school.
The real Amoroso, 35 in high school. Thought I was going to the NBA. I never scored more than 20 after that. LOL. Coleman Potts, law school, intramural basketball, dropped a whopping 16. Get him, Coleman Potts. We love it. Hot about 77. We see you, Davon. 77. 14 in the CYO for Skunk. 18 for the high school for Jay. And Jay said the 30, though, overall. That's fantastic. And Philly Star said he actually had 27 in the church league, but the points pile up as you get older, all that stuff. So good stuff. Appreciate everybody. Keep dropping them in. And if you're listening to this late, like Derek said, drop your career high in the comments of the show. We really appreciate it, as always. You said yours was what?
I think it was 24, but it's been a lifetime ago, so I'd have to double check. But it was right around there.
Okay. Yeah. Bree, you hoop too. So you got, if you want to share yours, you share yours too. Yeah. Bree hoops.
Hello. Okay, cool.
Bree's
I don't know. JV was 12 or 14, but
nice.
Rec League and college, it's just me and a couple other people, maybe in
nice.
20s.
Love it. Really appreciate it, everybody. And of course, when you're playing pickup, sometimes you just have good days, but the game only goes to 21.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. Rough House, play to 35, then it extends to 45 because you got to win by a certain number, all that stuff. We've all done that.
No,
good stuff.
Just had 7 in a 15-point game, but like I said, it only goes to 7, and you're playing by 1. So
love it. Drop it in the chat, everybody. Drop it in the comments. We appreciate it. Let's get to your super chats here tonight. Start off with Davon says, most emotional 50 was D Rose. Nearly shed a tear. I remember that with the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Still on. It seemed like he was always coming back from that injury because he was never the same after the ACL injury. And Jeff Teague, if you all watch his 520 podcast, fantastic club, 520 podcast with his people, and Behan, his brother, I forget the other host's name. Sorry, I apologize. Great stuff that they do. And when they had Derrick Rose on the podcast, Jeff Teague told the story of how it happened, and it was dope because he even said that Jeff Teague is a tough guy and all that. He said, but even when you're all tough like that on that Timberwolves squad, it was hard not to be emotional knowing what Derrick Rose had to come back from after that ACL, to see him continue to work. So that's a great one, Davon, to bring up with his 50 that he had for the Timberwolves that night. Because Jeff Teague was a starter, I think he said. Derrick Rose was not supposed to play that many minutes, but because Teague was out, Rose got the start, and he had a 50 spot.
No, I mean,
that's a good one.
I have some complicated feelings about Derrick Rose, and it has nothing to do with the basketball.
Just talking
court.
Basketball, yeah.
But in terms of what he went through in his career, certainly that would be an emotional moment for him, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So good one, Davon. Appreciate it. EJ says, glad we are equally impressed. We're glad we had equally impressive Cam and Bam nights, both historic.
Look, they're both career nights.
On the same level. Also, Grimes attacking the rim is the best version of Grimes, getting to the free throw line 12 times tonight, 10 of 12 from the free throw line.
Yeah. It can, especially on nights like tonight when he's the lead guy and creating a lot more against a set defense, it can sometimes result in some pretty high turnover nights. Whereas when he's attacking off the catch, when he's attacking off a closeout, he can get there a little more cleanly. So I worry about these nights at times, but for the most part, what do you end up with turnover-wise? I feel like he kept his turnovers relatively in check for Quentin Grimes.
Quentin Grimes only had 2.
There you go.
Yeah.
To get to the free throw line 12 times without making the kind of mistakes that he is sometimes prone to do, very good night from him for sure.
Yep. And also, shout out Bam and Cam for their career nights. By the way, Bobby Marks, I looked at his tweet, kind of what you just said. His end of the game is something else. Bam is sitting on 79. Miami fouling on purpose to get the ball back up 20 plus. Derek said that earlier. Hilarious. Hear somebody else say what Derek was pointing out.
I have to go back and watch this. It sounds like there's some real shenanigans going on.
We gotta watch this one, man. This is too good. Now, NBA TV is gonna have it on when we get home tonight, so we might as well just pencil that in for our late night watch since we can't go to sleep before 3 o'clock anyway. Skunk, haiku titled "Constant Pain." These rose thorns pierce flesh, yet thine hands grasp yet again. Love outlasts the wound. I have no idea why I still love this train wreck of an organization, but I keep coming back. Love y'all. We love you too. Skunk, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of you with your super chats. Now we head to the Xfinity Mobile Arena, checking in on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line with our teammate here, Kyle Neubeck, live from the arena. Kyle, did you know you were going to be calling in tonight talking about 2 career nights? Cam Payne, 32, perfect 8 for 8 from 3, and Bam Adebayo, where we have to somehow go back and watch this one because everybody's talking about how they shamelessly got the 83.
Oh,
but he got there.
If you didn't watch that ending, boy, are you going to go back and see some shenanigans
We're gonna watch
at the end of that game. So we'll set that aside for now, and I'll give you a funny anecdote on that subject. Cam Payne was at the podium, and obviously he had a huge night. This is his return to form after playing overseas, struggling a little bit, and he got asked about the Bam thing, and he goes, "I'm worrying about Cam Payne. We're saying March 10th is Cam Payne and Bam Adebayo." And so he had some fun with it. Obviously, everyone here in the arena and in the locker room was dialed in on the end of that Heat Wizards game, but I want to say this about Cam and about that performance. I think while he's in the middle of that heater, to me, the play that defines that whole game is him pressing Cedric Howard basically full court, forcing the turnover at half court, and Kelly Oubre eventually getting the loose change, scoring on the other end. And Cam, after the game, talked a lot about, I was as happy about 10 assists as I was about 32 points or whatever it was, 32, right? 32 points, and he tied are we in overtime yet? Am I allowed to share any curse words? Oh, that's unfortunate because Cam Payne did have a funny quote about, you can go look on our Twitter feed and go see what he said regarding his performance tonight. But he talked to us during his last stint here and used the words, energy costs nothing. And between the defensive stuff, the playmaking, the shot making, I think all of that, I don't know if you guys could hear on the broadcast, that's probably the best crowd that they've gotten all year against all odds, which when you consider how down people were about Maxey, you consider the Grizzlies are a team that nobody really has any animosity or emotion about. I think a lot of that comes down to Cam Payne came in and gave them just this huge emotional wave. Obviously, there was also Kelly Oubre. Obviously, VJ's return and his play made a big difference. But there's a reason Cam Payne, at his size and his trials and tribulations, is still finding ways to get back to the league. It's because he carries himself with that type of personality and that type of confidence. And he basically won them that game tonight. Great
Kyle,
game by him.
We brought up the play up the floor, dogging Cedric Coward and forcing that, and you could even see on the replay where he falls to the floor because Cedric Coward is pretty strong, and you pointed out how small Cam Payne is, but getting the tip away and Kelly Oubre going the other way, he's on the floor on his back and on his backside, yelling at the crowd like he does, and we talked about his emotion and. First shot falls, cool. Second shot falls, now he's doing his stuff. And that's only after shot 2, but creation for others. After the third one goes in, they close out hard. He puts the ball on the floor. He goes and gets a layup off of that one. And then just making the plays for others. And the crowd, it's infectious with the crowd. The teammates feed off of that. And that's what it did feel like that watching it on television, especially when they were really making that comeback. And he was a big piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mistaking it, right? There are few things that get a crowd going, like an absolutely insane shooting heater like that. Like, there's just no experience like it NBA-wise. It's hard to string together anything comparable with dunks because nobody's letting you dunk 8 times in a row without missing, right? That's pretty tough to pull off. But his fingerprints were absolutely all over that run. The defensive stop on Coward is earlier in the fourth. He's making shots in the middle and then really punctuated it, I thought, with he got run off the line, he beats a closeout, attacks the paint, and hits Dominic Barlow on a drop-off. Barlow gets the N1 finish. And Barlow is just like sheepishly grinning. I don't know if they showed that on the broadcast. Like, it was just such a fun fourth quarter after 2.5 quarters of mostly pain, misery, and like how the hell are they losing to this Grizzlies team. So shout out to Cam Payne for this one. He was quite special. I think it was their first 30-point outing off the bench all year, which shout out to him for that.
Yep.
Obviously, VJ came back and made his return. Looked a little rusty from the outside, otherwise had some good moments. What did you make of his game?
Yeah, so I think one thing that really popped for him was Memphis played super small. And the Sixers responded by not playing Andre Drummond. In fact, they didn't even play a Dembona for a lot of the game. Some of that was foul trouble. Some of it was he just not staying connected, not helping them rebound. And so they go to the Barlows, the Jabari Walkers of the world. And I thought VJ did a good job of hunting some offensive rebounds in some big spots. Got a put back on his own miss, got an offensive rebound on a missed free throw, got another one in the first half where I think he caught one and then got fouled, put himself on the free throw line. So I think the most encouraging thing tonight was physically, he looked really good. Like no ill effects coming off the injury. Not that we were expecting anything. Was able to play 34 minutes, and that was with 5 fouls and Nurse basically going away from him down the stretch, just kept him out of the game as they went on that big run. So I like that. Obviously, when you get up 5 threes and you're 1 of 5 to start the game, I don't mind if he keeps taking them, but I thought he did a really nice job of they're still closing hard on him and playing up on him. And he did a nice job of reading those, attacking the closeouts, getting to some short, bump mid-range shots. So I thought he read the floor really well, made some really nice passes too. Like there's one pass I can remember from the top of the key he threw on an absolute rope. I don't remember if it was
It was Kelly Oubre.
It was Kelly Oubre. I couldn't remember if it was Oubre or Barlow, where he hits him just square in the hands, and then that's an easy finish from there. So would have liked that he would commit less than 5 fouls so we could see him on the floor more and benefit from his return. But just about everything else I was really encouraged by. Not that I was expecting the Grizzlies to disrupt them a whole lot, but to see a rookie come back and play that well after a few games off always very encouraging.
Great screen, by the way, by VJ Edgecombe on that play to Kelly Oubre for that dunk. We're in overtime now here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Thanks to everybody on the television side. We'll see you on Thursday, pregame against the Pistons, 6:30 right here on the show. Allphly.com for the remainder of the night. Can you tell us now the Cam Payne quote?
Give us that shit, Kyle.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, so Cam Payne got asked about, hey, this is the most threes the Sixers ever made without a miss in Sixers history. Like, do you have any kind of thoughts on that? And before he got into his more serious discussion, he goes, my initial reaction was, that's crazy. Tyrese ain't did that shit. And he said it in like almost not covered his mouth, but he kind of slid it past there.
Yeah.
I'll give you another overtime moment here that's completely unrelated to that. Obviously, the Bam Adebayo game was all the talk and all eyes were on it here after the game. And, there are plenty of guys in that locker room who are big Kobe fans who felt different ways about it. I kid you not, we walk into the locker room and Trendon Watford is watching the game and it's dead quiet and he just goes, fuck! Like, just yells really loud, like was just viscerally upset that somebody had passed Kobe, who, obviously that was quite a performance from him back in the day. So not everybody shared that thought. Kelly Oubre also was like, Joel did his efficiently when he scored 70 at the end of his quote, did give Bam his just due and all that, but made sure to stick up for his guy too.
Was Kyle Lowry in the locker room? He was his former teammate.
I think he was long gone by the time we got in there. I think they actually had the locker room closed down until that game ended, basically. So it took us forever to get in there tonight, and I imagine that was part of it. Look, you guys can judge for yourselves. I don't want to color any perceptions. I think the fact that he shot the most free throws in a game in history is very funny, though. And I'm imagining if, it's going to be the ultimate if another player did this argument thing, like if Joel or Shea or Luka or some of these other guys shot 43 free throws to break a Kobe scoring record, it would anyway. Shout out to Bam. Good job by him. You can only play the game that's in front of you.
I that's where I am, but we, like you said, we can talk about that another day, especially after we watch the game. I'm looking at the Kobe box score. They won 122-104 over the Raptors that night. He was 28 for 46, 7 for 13 from 3, 18 for 20 from the foul line, 42 minutes. And they did it wasn't a big blowout like that, 122-104, but they did blow him out in that one. Kyle, last one for me. With all the smiles and all the laughter we have, career nights from Cam and Bam as we talk about it, can you also talk about anything in regards to Tyrese Maxey now that we do have the news as far as the pinky and the tendon injury that he has suffered?
Yeah, it's obviously a big bummer for him first and foremost, right? He has been putting this team on his back for most of the year. Has played 60-plus games, and not only that, has played a gargantuan amount of minutes. He was on pace to play the most minutes per game in, I think, a decade, since James Harden was the last guy to play 38 minutes or more a night. Guys just don't do that anymore. So to see his season disrupted by this, I felt bad for him first and foremost. I hope he's able to get back on the floor, give himself that chance for all NBA on top of all the
5 more games
stuff.
6 more games.
He's got to get there. So I want that for him. Forget about what it means for the team for a second. But on a team front, everything we heard was about what you'd expect, right? It's got to be next man up mentality. We talked a little bit to Cam after the game about, hey, look, you're got to spend a lot of time with VJ now, because that's just not a pairing or a combo that's gotten much time. And so we'll see how that works, where Cam, I think, is maybe going to be a little more of a straightforward point guard at times to, set up VJ, rather than Tyrese and VJ can do more of the combo scoring attack type of deal. Although I say that after Cam dropped 32 on Memphis tonight. So everything that you would expect, I think their mentality right now is just kind of bunker down, hold down the fort. You hope that you get Joel Embiid back soon. Unless something, knock on wood, I won't say you expect that you're getting Paul George back on March 25th. There are still, 7 or 8 games left until.
Can you imagine if we get to the 25th and they're like, he's starting his return to play program? Oh my God, heads will explode.
That's why I made sure to qualify it. I do not want to be misquoted later and say, you promised me. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But I think tonight is an example of what it's going to require, right? It's not going to always be 30 points for Cam Payne off the bench. It's not going to be Kelly Oubre putting in his first 30-10 game that he's had as a player, which it didn't seem possible to me. I thought he would have had one somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
I might have to do like a basketball reference query on that one and check the stats, people.
Are you calling our Sixers employees liars?
No, I have to say it just felt off to me, but I take. I
said to Derek, I was like, the year we went to the finals, he played all those games in the starting role for Chris Paul.
To be clear,
and I swore that he had 30.
is the Phoenix Suns.
The Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
I swore, Kyle, that he had 30 in one of those games during that stretch where he was starting and even in the playoff game. But he had double nights. Maybe it was just high 20s with double-digit assists. But, yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, so anyway, the point is, what it's going to take is somebody, and multiple somebodies are going to have to step up every night. You're hoping that Embiid can come back and look, that's you set the scoring floor in that way. You hope you get 25 to 30 out of him. You get VJ's normal production. And then it's going to require the Quintins, the Kellys, the Cams, the Trendons of the world. Each night, somebody's going to have to step up. So I think that's the mentality in the locker room. And they're all just kind of hoping that Tyrese is able to get back sooner rather than later and hopefully finish off the excellent season that he started all these months ago now.
Yep. All right, man. Appreciate it, Kyle. Enjoy the day off as far as us being on the air tomorrow. Enjoy the day off. We'll all be back together on Thursday for Sixers Pistons 6:30 pregame here on the show. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Fellas, I hope you do a lot less furniture moving than I will do tomorrow. But mercifully,
Correct.
The floors are finished. The light at the end of the tunnel is here. Well, anyway, that's just for us, the group on the show, and nobody else cares. Thank you, guys. Good night.
All right, man. Read Kyle at allphly.com for the post-game instant observations after the game as well. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Kyle Neubeck joining us on the Xfinity mobile call-in line from the arena. If I have this right, his playoff career high was 31. In 2023. That's not the year I thought. Previous regular season was 29.
Yeah.
That was 2022.
They probably were only including regular season games in their search.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's that for Cam Payne as far as those go. Okay. Well, congratulations to him. Congratulations to all the Sixers and the Sixer fans in general for getting a little bit of a, little relief in terms of not having to worry about a loss for Tyrese Maxey for 3 weeks and then a loss to the Memphis Grizzlies where you would have been all pulling your hair out because of that.
Yep.
So we'll be back on Thursday, 6:30, Sixers and Pistons. We'll be here with you for the pregame coverage. Pistons tonight. Well, it was an easy one for the Pistons tonight as they took down, and we were monitoring this one just because we knew the Pistons were next for the Sixers. The Pistons defeated destroyed the Brooklyn Nets 138-100. That one was pretty easy too for Cade Cunningham and the group. So we'll see them in Detroit. We'll see Tobias Harris, Cade Cunningham, and the squad on Thursday. Let's say it. Time for the world famous roll call.
We will start. What were our super chats? We had Skunk.
Davon. Davon has another. Do you believe this overhelp defensive scheme tires us out and contributes to the flat third quarters we always come out settling for jumpers and gas? Is that a bad theory just because they do play the way that they do, but they're coming
tired
out of
in the third, then they'd be tired in the fourth.
I know.
They're one of the better fourth quarter teams.
I don't have an answer for it, so I'm willing to say that's not a bad theory.
Yeah, no. I have no problem.
I have no answer.
Brainstorming solves here. I just don't think that's likely it, because then why would they be such a good fourth quarter team?
True.
Look, if any of us knew why they couldn't play basketball in the third quarter, we'd probably be making a lot of money because we'd be coaching the Sixers right now.
Fair. Real fast. Standings update.
Yep.
Just real quick. Bree, you don't even have to worry about throwing anything up on the screen. Toronto lost tonight, so Miami is tied with them for 5th currently, but they sit in the 6th seed. Half game up on Orlando.
Why, did Miami win? Did anybody have a big game for them?
Yeah, actually, Jaime Jaquez had a nice night. They've won 6 in a row.
8 shots.
Miami has won 6 in a row. I think when the Sixers beat them, they've not lost since the Sixers beat them in that game. So they've won 6 in a row. Orlando idle tonight. I think Orlando idle tonight. Yes, as far as I see, I don't think they played. Charlotte is playing tonight. They're playing Portland. They're losing by 10 currently. And you also had the Atlanta Hawks. They've won their 7th in a row. They are now 1 game back of the Sixers. Orlando is a 4 game up on Philadelphia, and the Sixers hold a 3-game lead over Charlotte and a 7.5 game lead over Milwaukee for the 11th seed overall. So just wanted to make sure we shared that with everybody if anyone didn't see it.
Yep. We're making the
roll
plan.
call.
Making a plan. Started off, like I said, with the Super Chats, which was what, Skunk and Schoolboy?
Skunk Schoolboy.
X-Man. I guess
EJ.
we should probably start off.
What up, X?
I saw Jamie Lynch in there as well.
Jamie was in there?
Probably smart of us to acknowledge his presence.
What up, Jay?
X-Man, Arizona Ron, Jay of the Jungle, who has been fighting the good fight all night. Jay still has optimism for the season, and I appreciate that, because
And Jay had 30.
many of you left. Well, of course he did.
In a game.
I could have predicted
Career
that
high
one.
30.
I could have predicted that one. Riordan,
What up,
Black
Riordan?
Moses.
Moses had to check out. Moses said he had to check out. He had to get some rest. Just got off work.
Philly Star, The Real Amoroso, Andrew Sharp, TGE H-Bart? Don't know what that one's about.
What's happening?
But I think he's a supporters club member, so I appreciate you. I just don't get the name.
Thank you.
I wish we had our old names back.
I
They're
know.
really every day this goes on.
I know.
It's worse and worse and worse.
Also, what up, Philly Star? Nona said, did you shout out her career high 25 in college?
I didn't see that.
I did not see
But that one also does not surprise me. I could have
Nona.
guessed that Nona was a hooper.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir Shmooey, SB Cole, James Lacey, Lost Sleep TV.
Losing sleep tonight, rewatching that Heat game.
Oh, gonna have to go back and watch that one. And that's a long one because he's at the foul line all gosh darn night.
Let me see the runtime on how long. that
Oh,
game is.
I don't want to know that. Graham 76, Anytime, Anywhere 444. Winona, of course. Kyle Wright, Greeny Green.
Greeny Green, what up?
D. Craig.
Yes.
A. Ron.
What up, Aaron?
I always want to say DC Craig for some reason, but it's not DC Craig. I know that. I see Mom in there. I see Eugene in there.
Yes. What up,
I'm gonna
Gene?
scroll up
Hey,
and
Mom.
see who I missed. I'm sure I missed somebody else, but that's the majority of the names that I have written down here.
All right.
Apologize if I missed you.
Real
Probably
fast. Sixers game time, 2 hours and 28 minutes.
did. Okay.
Do you want to guess the game time for the Miami Heat in their extended game, because
Sure.
they had to make sure that they extended it for Bam Adebayo?
2:42.
The exact number, because I had to refresh it, was 2:30.
Oh, that's not
So
that
only
bad.
2 minutes.
That's not that bad.
Only 2 minutes longer than the Sixers game. How about that? Shocker on that one. Make sure, everybody, you hit the like button, like and subscribe. Saw Jazz in there also. Jazzy, good to see you as well. Hit the like button, like and subscribe to the show. And when you do, hit the bell icon, and it'll let you know that it is, in fact, showtime. We appreciate you all week, of course. All games all week. No 3 p.m. shows. Pre and post here all week long on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Bree, great job as always. Bree had a lot to do in the moment. She had to get the graphic ready for Bam Adebayo. Stuff that we didn't even use. The highlights that she used for Cam Payne. Bree, great job as always. President of basketball operations. Bree, thanks to Kyle for joining us from the arena. Derek, this is always fun, my man. So we'll see you on Thursday, of course. So everybody have a great rest of your night. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. We will see you on Thursday, 6:30. Enjoy your Wednesday. We will talk to you then. Stay warm because we're going to get some rain with the nice weather, and then it's going to start to just dip a little bit.
A little bit of false spring here. That's okay.
A little false hope, but we'll get it all back here soon. Everybody have a great rest of your night. We will talk to you on Thursday here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.